From a very young age, I remember my father was in the business, worked for a big company called Mex, which was all Indian people, but in Europe, building a brand. But actually, after that was where I remember. So he would come to India, he'd be in factories, they'd go to Paris, open some boutiques, and I was glued to my dad. So wherever he went, I went. So I just organically learnt the business, and it was passionate, it was fun. So that's sort of how I got into fashion, because when I graduated, a role came up in a really luxury brand in the UK back in the day. And so I thought I wanted to learn it properly. So I joined manufacturing division, learnt pattern cutting and fabric and textiles, and so learnt from the ground up. But actually that's what was great, because I had the passion, but I now have the master skills. So the two together is and I've never looked back, because it's never a job, it's just fun. And when I tell girlfriends what I do, they're like, God, you go on shopping trips to New York, or you're being inspired by collections in Paris. But you have to make it happen. You have to be inspired, but you have to deliver the goods. My parents were immigrants, and Indians were 3% of the population in the UK today. We had to fight for our place in society. And what that did was create hard-working families that had to prove that we were better than everyone else. And so that happened from day dot. And it happens here in India. I'm not saying it doesn't, but we had a peer group around us where we weren't given the chances because no one believed in us. So we had to prove. And actually, if you look at Indians in the UK today, we have an Indian Prime Minister. So things have come full circle. I think there's part of this resilience and fighting for your place that is just inbuilt. So it's how you run your everyday life. And so failure isn't on it. You have to do it. It's also you over the years realize what you're good at. So you have to learn the skills, but then you have to place bets on what people want to buy. And when you place the bets and you get it right, then that's where the excitement sets in. You know, what are you going to be wearing next year? The excitement is placing bets and getting it right. And when you do it enough, you start to get a name for yourself in the industry. And then the excitement and growing in that field is where I felt that I started to excel, because I just sort of got it. And then you have retail stores. How do you bring that product into those stores? But placing the bets and getting the bets right for the consumer that you're targeting is probably where I am today. And all that journey I've had over 30 years is just learning my skill and finding the thing that I probably do best. I felt that during COVID, everything just got stuck. Everybody's lives changed. I'm of Indian heritage. And actually the opportunity when Westside connected with me was I'd love to explore India properly and love to join a business and a country that is growing and make my mark there. But it wasn't just about my mark. It was about connecting back to India, because that's where my roots are. And also the opportunity of doing and showing retail in India. You know, retail in India is highly unorganized. There's some great organized brands, Westside being one of them. But to really start to build that at a time when the consumer's ready for it was where the excitement set in. And also in my life, I could do it because my kids had grown up. I could never have taken that opportunity when they were small. So the timing was right. India was booming. Westside was looking for somebody. And I was ready to do something crazy and different. So here I am. I think India sits in a place today where the consumer is really ready for something compelling and different and understands what organized retail and experiential retail means. I walk around Mumbai and I see people leisurely looking and browsing. It's where the UK was 20 years ago. The excitement to spend an afternoon shopping and discovering is what India's all about at the moment. So I think India's got the potential to really grow. And I think our job at Westside is how do we bring that to the consumer? So that's what's so exciting, because I've gone from the master of clothes to now just being excited about retail and what does retail mean. It's not just the clothes, it's the experience, it's the brand connection, it's everything that is what we need to do and what India's ready for. There's not many homegrown brands that create in-house like Westside. So that again was a really attractive proposition because you're in control of what you do and how you present it to your customers. I drive around Mumbai and every billboard has an amazing looking Bollywood chick on it with perfect skin and fabulous hair. But that same girl seems to be the face of every brand in India. So, what makes Westside different? The fact that you won't ever see that. We, again, quietly sell our product in beautiful stores, but we do connect with advocates, influencers who have reach in different parts of India. We work with various people around the country who all have their own journeys and links, but brings an engagement to the brand that's a little bit different. I think, firstly, it's our responsibility as a brand to really own the sustainable journey and ensure everything we do, from the crop to the yarn, to how it's made, to the factory it's made in, to how it's delivered to the stores, is as responsible as possible with lowering our carbon footprint. And the best way to bring the team together with one vision and really drive this agenda is to create a brand and a label within Westside that truly epitomizes that. And so that's what we're doing. We are going to launch a label that means if you buy a T-shirt from Westside, you know it's been grown the right way, it has the right cotton, it has been made in a factory that is fully sustainable, and it's been driven to the store in an electrical vehicle. And the store in itself, the label it uses, will have been made from recycled paper. It's a lot of work to do this because we don't want to just say it. We want everything behind the words to be true. And, there are people around the globe that haven't had great press when they've launched sustainable labels. So we want to do it right. It's not quick. We've been on this journey for a while. The desire and the agenda is very, very high in the priority of Westside. It's coming. I think it's getting buy-in from everyone that there is a slight increase in cost to do this in certain parts of the supply chain. But what we can't do is pass that cost on to our consumer. And again, I've done sustainable labels before, but we've charged a higher price for them. And therefore the consumer doesn't buy into it because they want sustainable, but they also want to pay the prices they pay. So the hard part really is to do this at great value and therefore looking at costs at every part of the supply chain. But actually saying that, I think the last 6 months, everybody has embraced this initiative in India. And the factories are putting solar panels on their roofs and water is being recycled, and we're behind all those energy saving to really drive a more sustainable product. Everybody's come together, and it's been an initiative that, although was hard for the last 5 years, seems to be gaining momentum because everybody wants it to happen. Believe it or not, there are predictors who predict the colours that will be hot next year. There is an industry around how colours will become fashionable, how looks will become fashionable. And that all comes together in insight, which is very embedded in how we think. But equally, as you work in this industry, you spend every day observing. You spend every day looking at what's happening around you. We all have the telephone that tells us what's happening on Instagram, TikTok, social media. And our job is to predict some of it, but also react to it. And that's what our teams do. We talk about it every day. We talk about it every week. And I spend probably an hour a day just checking in with my teams to say, did you see that fabulous pink T-shirt in Bandra after the Barbie movie? How come we haven't got it in our ranges? Are you on the latest movies that are being launched in India? And have we got the product that the girls are going to want to buy? And then off they go to check what films are coming out in the next 6 months and have we got it? So we've had lots of chats about cargo pants in menswear. You know, everybody's wearing a cargo pant. And when Ranbir Kapoor was wearing cargo pants 6 months ago, we were all running around making sure we had them. But to be fair, it was a trend. It was a trend we saw a year ago. And our job in retail and in fashion is make sure we get the ones that are right for the Indian consumer. So we have to stay ahead of the game. How do we do that? Fabulous stores, really iconic stores, glass facades. We're re-looking at how we lay out our stores so they're much more premium in look and feel. We also need to make sure we are on top of the fashion game because everybody sees everything on their phone and global brands are coming to India in a big way. And they're going to set a whole new standard of expectation. So Westside's got to keep up with that. So that's where we have to think about where we want to go next. We also need to build the brand and connect with people at a brand level, not at a transactional level in the store. But I think Westside has a great brand resonance, which is another reason why it was such an attractive proposition, because people connect with Westside. The amount of people they say, I love Westside. I love just coming to the stores. I've grown up with it. It's very much part of our family shopping. So we have a lot to do, but it's all good. It's all about, in fashion, you've got to keep looking ahead and keep changing and evolving and navigating the space that people want to be in. And that's our job. The teams are great. They all come together and that's what we talk about. Where do we go next year? How do we look and feel better? How do we make the quality better? How do we make more people walk in our stores? So there's lots of exciting things. And we want to build community through Loyalty Club. We're doing all sorts of things outside of just clothes. We have 3-piece bands playing on a Sunday in our stores. We have yoga and Zumba classes happening in stores. So we've got to take the product and the stores into how we become a very compelling brand and connect people with us and take us on a journey for the rest of the time that they want to shop. Well, if you look at the statistics, 50% of our cohort of customers will have double their disposable income in the next 5 years, just based on salaries and both household members working. So suddenly the amount they have to spend will be a lot more. And the population is increasing. So we're perfectly situated that if we give great value product, protect our prices, but increase the fashion and the quality proposition in iconic spaces that people want to spend time in, then we have it all ahead of us. The people are there. We got to make sure we do the right thing by them. And they'll be shopping like crazy. There's nowhere else in the world that has that opportunity ahead of them the way India does. And that's what's so exciting.